Welcome everyone to another episode of the EnviroConnect Belize competition. I'm Rajiv.
And I'm Christian from the Department of the Environment.
We're now down to the top 5 teams.
This week, our teams will design their own module based on alternative energy sources such as solar, wind, water, ethanol, or biogas.
Last challenge, we discovered the invasive lionfish and its impact on the reef, and our teams competed with a cook-off with celebrity chef Sean Quillen.
Now our teams will try their hands at engineering.
I hope they brought their thinking caps. Our teams have rolled up their sleeves and are hard at work on their renewable energy devices. So let's check in on them.
So for our renewable energy source, we decided to go with wind. We were thinking about it and we were stuck between wind and water, but we decided to go with wind because we think it's a bit simpler. So we decided to try and make a wind turbine. So what that will do is generate electricity and power about 4 LEDs that we'll be inserting into the turbine itself.
Since we're using wind, the first object that we have to make is a turbine. We have to make something spin in order to generate energy because we are changing mechanical energy to electric energy. And this will show that just by the power of nature, wind, we can produce enough energy to light a bulb.
We chose solar energy to work on as our renewable energy project.
To us, it's the most practical. We live in Belize and it's very hot, so you have the sun is shining most of the times and you know when it's going to rain. We thought about making the hot box so that you could make your food and you make something that's not easily perishable.
Those had to get some recycled material because we decided we had to deal with water with renewable energy. So we just decided we would demonstrate how hydro energy could be used to power different things. In this instance, what we'll do is a bar lift with the funnel and from a empty liquid bottle that we found. This will act as a turbine to lift whatever item we have at the end of the turbine.
Well, we chose solar and we are looking to make 2 things?
Yeah, 2 things. A cup with a solar powered fan blade and also fan cup and also mobile charger.
For the cup we're using a hat, an old hat that we don't use anymore. This fan blade out of a little portable fan. And then we need to take one of those toy DC motors out of like a toy, or we're taking it out of this DVD player.
You're watching Carnival with your family and you need a solar powered cap to match your outfit. Okay, we could create one for you.
Our energy source is salt water. We have a vast amount of salt water that basically is just running freely. And after looking up online to see how other people come up with their own energy, we found that salt water can actually be used for energy. So we are planning to make electric using the salt water, using this can, or a can like this, along with the salt, and we'll be also using copper coil. I know it looks crazy, but after we're done with it, you'll be amazed.
What we have here is the basic component. This is made up of copper, and what copper has, it has kind of like an electromagnetic field. So when you have a magnet spinning in it, it creates electromagnetic forces within it, creating energy. So Basically, what is this is a coil. We're in the beginning step because we have to unroll all of this copper to have enough, because the more coils you have, the more electricity you can produce, so this will be a very tedious task. The other step would be to make a good propeller. This one apparently just broke on us, so we have to make a new propeller. I would say a much larger one, make it more aerodynamic to get as much energy from the wind as possible. These are just things that you use for kebabs, and this is the whole part of a computer fan, and this is what comes with the computer fan and all the components. All the wiring and stuff that we'll use is coming from this. The copper actually comes from a burnt out fan that we found. I would say the biggest challenge for us right now is to find magnets, because if you have weak magnets for this, it will be hard to light up 4 LEDs. So we definitely need some strong magnets, and they have to be small enough to fit between the coils. So
we decided to make a hot box, and like Nicole said, we wanted to do something practical. So we're trying to brainstorming a whole lot to actually come up with something, and this is what we decided to make. What we did was we got old wood from builders, and the styrofoam inside is from the IT department, from our IT department. The foam boards that are inside,
So these that are with foil paper are actually foam boards, but covered with foil paper so that it attracts more heat.
and we also spray painted the styrofoam black so that it also attracts more heat inside. When we have these panels on the sides like this, we'll have them all around. Just show you too. So we'll have them all around like this, as you can see, and
They will
they'll
be
be more
screwed.
sturdy.
They will be screwed on, hence the hinges.
Yeah.
So do it like equal. You put 3 fins, I would call it. Cork, and the cork will act as a wheel. We take another cork and put to the end. This is where we'll attach whatever item we put for lifting at the end. In this case, we'll use this ball. Quick science project to make. This takes like a good 15 minutes to make. Let's do this.
And we're thinking about the person who commutes daily, but on foot. And so this person would, half the time we live in a tropical climate and half the time the sun is out. So to remain cool while they're walking, and also we're going to attach the charger onto one of those drawstring bags, so they could also be getting that charge, We need a USB port like this. So we have 2 options. We have this. Of course we need wires, so to be quite honest, I don't know anything about this stuff.
Neither do I.
And so this is definitely the toughest challenge so far.
Yeah, what actually happens is they call it electrolysis, right? When it comes to fresh water, water has 2 components, hydrogen and oxygen, right? So when you add the salt into it, it turns it into an electrolyte solution. So it can conduct energy very well, right? So that's what we're trying to do right here. It's very hard to get copper in Belize, so trying to get this to work so that you could put it around it, right? When you put it around it, you just put these 2, the positive and the negative. The positive will go on the copper, the negative will go on the aluminum, right? And when you place it in a salt water solution, it's supposed to move 2 volts, because it only produces 2 to 3 volts, right? It's not that strong. but 2 volts will be more than enough to move a fan like this.
Or light up a light bulb.
Yeah, so these are aluminum cans. We had to, what you need to do first is sandpaper off this whatever coating they have on top of it, because it prevent the energy from moving away from it easily.
So this is how basically it will work. So whenever wind touches it, the propeller will spin. Worked a while ago, man. But yeah, this is the whole basic principle of.
So the magnet will be right at the center here, and when the propellers are spinning, the magnet will spin, and that is what is going to make the electromagnetic field and actually generate the electricity, which will be running a wire to the LEDs, and while this spins, then the LEDs they will light up.
At this point, I'm not 100% confident, but
as long as everything goes to plan, we're 100% sure that we will move on to the next stage. We just require a couple more items and finish up the design, the planning of the design, and we're pretty sure we'll move on as long as we achieve all of that. So we are confident.
You are very confident.
The the rays from the sun will reflect into the box, and we'll also be getting a glass. So we'll put that over the top of the box so that it keeps the heat down. And when the rays reflect from the sun onto the board, into the box itself, then we cook whatever we have in our hot box. Yeah. The most challenging part, believe it or not, was cutting the styrofoam inside, actually shaping it out, like to have it that flat surface that we can stick it in the box. That was everyone would say, oh, I guess the box was the hard that, and actually it was not the hardest part. That was actually the easiest part. With nails. With nails.
To try and hold it in place. So this is basically what we are creating, that when the water goes on the wheel, it should lift the ball. When you pour the water on the spinning wheel, it should create some kind of friction or torque that will lift the ball. Right? Hope it works at this one demonstration, because this isn't glue as yet. So the pressure of the water should turn it and lift the ball. So got to cart this off. So that's basically what we chose to create.
I'm thinking if we get all the materials, we can pull it off, because we have been gaining knowledge from YouTube and, you know, learning how to create these things. So it looks pretty much straightforward. It's not far-fetched ideas that we're trying to bring to life. So as long as we get the proper materials that we do need, I don't think that any of them will be more challenging.
But open this fan.
Why?
Because I need to get out the wire. See, the wire it can't come out. Hopefully our final product should impress the judges and keep us in the competition.
Well, the only challenge we had was just to find copper. That's the only challenge we know about. Yeah. Other than that, everything else is very easy. I believe this is a very good source of energy to use, because like I said, we have a lot of salt water.
The seawater is way more potent than this. So if anyone is living by the sea and they have any sort of metal, they can create something like this. I think it's a very simple project. I think what we'll create out of this will be very creative. I think the creative part will, push us up to the top. Yes, I do have confidence in our project.
the trajectory of human development over the last 2 centuries, what we see is that petroleum and petroleum derivatives has driven the rapid rise in living standards, the rapid rise in industrialization, the rapid rise in scientific and technological advancement. And so, but particularly industrial growth has been driven by petroleum derivatives. Whether they are solid fuels like coal, which was initially the first petroleum derivatives, and then later overtaken by crude oil and its derivatives, and then more recently, natural gas. This has been the traditional way in which countries have industrialized and driven their industrial progress. The green economic concept says that trajectory is no longer sustainable over time. Every time society and mankind uses these fuels, these fossil fuels, for energy production in particular, what it means is that you're releasing carbon dioxide that had been sequestered, that had been stored in these fuels, and releasing into the atmosphere. And we now know there's ample scientific evidence which lets us know that this is not sustainable. We cannot continue releasing these carbon stores into the atmosphere without damaging our environment and irreversibly changing the way our climate is regulated across the world by nature. The concept of the green economy, as I said, is to move away from fossil fuels. And the point I'm making is that in shifting away from fossil fuels, it creates opportunities for Belize. Rather than us depending on foreign sources and all the difficulties in terms of trade that creates. If we are shifting our transportation stocks away from gasoline and diesel, and we're shifting it to using, say, fuel ethanol or biodiesel, that creates opportunities for Belize and entities in Belize to produce those fuels, not only for domestic use, but also for export to the region. I mean, we have a single economic space with CARICOM. It's unlikely that, except for maybe Guyana and Suriname, that any major CARICOM country would produce biofuels apart from Belize. Traditionally in Belize, we have used a lot of diesel and heavy fuel oil for electricity production. But Belize has been one of the countries that has shifted. We now have substantial hydro resources that has been exploited. We have biomass resources, the sugarcane industry. They're a substantial part of our electricity matrix. And so in Belize, it's somewhere around 58% of our total electricity production is from renewables. Our goal is that we have set ourselves the goal that by 2030, we should wean ourselves off of fossil fuels, or pretty much wean ourselves off. Almost, I think less than 3% we expect every unit of electricity that's produced and used in Belize should be from fossil fuels. So that's one example of where you're shifting from using fossil fuels as your foundation technology and your foundation resource to other resources. And so that means exploiting hydro, which we have done, exploiting biomass, which is what we have done, exploiting solar, which is just in its infancy in Belize, exploiting wind, which we have not substantially explored. Within the electricity subsector, these technologies are, in general, mature. They are cost competitive with traditional, conventional fossil fuels, and we have adopted them in Belize. We just need to adopt them more. We need to have more widespread adoption of them to raise our share of renewables that we get from electricity. We consider the most important intervention we can do in the near term to green Belize, to achieve sustainable development, is to use energy more rationally, which means that end users, people who you're doing lighting, you're doing refrigeration, you're doing cooling, whatever it is you're doing, use a technology that uses energy in a rational, in an efficient way. We can start to shift our behaviors, and we can start to shift our awareness and our perspectives with respect to energy use just by adopting more energy efficient and more rational use of energy at the point of use. And that's a start.
Well, here at Coors Pine, we have a variety of appliances that are energy efficient, like the refrigerators with the inverters, air conditioners with the inverters. We have washing machines as well that are high efficiency washing machines. They can detect exact amount of water needed and energy needed to wash certain clothes. We also have televisions that are energy efficient as well. For us, it is very important to promote these high energy efficient items because, as many people would know, Coors is very interested in the expenses that our customers would go through. So by purchasing these energy efficient products, they use less water, they use less electricity, so obviously bills will be lower, and that will benefit everyone in the community. As well, we should remember that most of our electricity is produced using non-renewable resources. So if we produce less electricity, we produce less of these resources, therefore we take care of our environment as well.
Welcome teams to the Black Rock Lodge in the beautiful rainforest of the Kaya district. It's good to see you again, right? Here at the Black Rock Lodge, the staff are committed to environmental conservation, and all the electricity you see around the resort is exclusively provided by a hybrid system of solar and micro hydro power. We've brought you here today for you to present your devices.
With us today, we have the Deputy Chief Environmental Officer from the Department of the Environment, Mr. Edgar Eck. Welcome, Mr. Edgar Eck. And we have Mr. Jorge Aldana, who's an alternative energy researcher. They will be taking you individually as teams to present your device to them. Could you explain more to them about what you'll be looking for in the criteria for the grade?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, and thank you very much for putting so much effort in developing your project. Mr. Aldana and myself have the honor of evaluating your projects. Some of the things that we will be looking at includes: 1, your knowledge about alternative energy, renewable energy sources; 2, your clarity of presentation. The third criteria is your creativity in producing your project. The last one, which is the fourth one, is the functionality of your project. You will also be able to earn up to 5 points for which are bonus for the use of waste material in producing your projects. So I wish you good luck in the evaluation process.
Okay, we've got a couple of projects that we've undertaken over a period of time. I'll start with our kitchen. We try with the kitchen all the byproducts coming out of the kitchen. We make sure that we recycle them. Those that are unrecyclable will obviously take to the recycle plant. The veggie and the fruit byproducts we'll take down to our garden. We'll separate it out. Some will go to feed for our goats and chickens. Some will go to our organic compost heap, where we will actually create a compost for our organic garden. From there, if you look at, we're off the grid, so we have to generate our own electricity. We've got 3 ways of doing that. We also need to provide our own water for ablution, for kitchen use, for drinking purposes. So I'll first touch on the water. We've got permission to tap into a natural spring on the premises. So we pipe that water down. That water turns our hydros. After it's past the hydro, which we will use the energy to store in our battery bank for later use when the solar is not in operation anymore, to actually supply electricity to the cabins. So that water, after it's passed the hydro, it will either go back to the river, it will fill our holding tank that supply the whole lodge with the water that I've just mentioned, or it will go to our small plunge pool. From there it will go back into the river. Hence we don't use any chemicals in our pool either. Farm to table. Okay, that's basically not a project. We strive to plant and to actually get as many of the vegetables that we require or that is in demand. We try to get it from our organic garden. Well, first of all, because we're off the grid, we had to find alternatives to create our own electricity, water supply, how to deal with our own byproducts, wastewater, etc. And to do it right is so important, to actually be able to not harm the environment, to actually give back to the environment. That's just the way we operate here. And we try to be very conservative with what we actually use of the environment as well.
How are you guys doing?
Very good, very good. Very good.
Okay. So, can you please tell us what you have for us today? What is your invention and the thinking behind of what you're going to present?
The first thing, we have a portable oven. It's made from a shoebox. It was pre-painted so that it can look, a bit uniform. Foil was placed on the inside along with some black construction tape. The foil to reflect the sunlight and the black construction tape to hold in the heat. And what we're going to do in there today is melt cheese. So when the cheese melts, you will know that it is holding heat inside the oven. Our other invention is what do you call it? A grill?
Yeah, it's a hot dog grill and it's made out of a Pringles can. It's wrapped with black construction paper, and our holder is our recycled glass bottle. They were vases, but now they're holding up the
our previous project.
From our previous project. So,
and in there we're going to grill a hot dog sausage, of course.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little about the solar cooker? What is this, plastic?
Yes, that is plastic wrap.
Is there any reason why you use plastic wrap rather than glass?
Well, it's the plastic wrap is to reflect the sunlight, and because this is portable and it's a shoebox, we didn't want to use a glass because it's too heavy.
Okay.
So we decided that we were going to put the plastic wrap on either sides of the cardboard, so it's kind of doubled, and the foil from the top here will reflect the sunlight there.
Okay.
So it'll get heat on the bottom.
Why double? Why double?
We thought that doubling it would hold more heat. We're not engineering experts or anything
Not
like
experts.
that. I mean,
And we did our research and that was advised, so that's what we went with.
Have you tried it? Has it worked?
We're going to try it today.
Okay, cool. So we'll have food today then.
Yes.
Yeah. In terms of the reflector, if you want to call it, the cover, is there any reason why you chose the cover of the box rather than some other shape,
If you're going to use a shoebox or a pizza box that already has its own flap, you can use that instead of finding another source of something to reflect the sunlight. Okay. So that's the reason why we chose to just line the covering with tape, and it can be adjusted depending on how the sun is.
The sun is reflecting.
Can I make some tacos out of this?
Yes, and we make the best tacos. Ask anybody.
It's lined with foil as well, aluminum foil, and at the bottom it has black construction tape.
Paper.
Construction paper, I'm sorry.
Remember, it's portable. We wanted to make something that you could take anywhere. We vacation a lot in Belize. You go to the beach. Maybe you just want to warm up something. This is perfect for that.
So it's the same concept for the hot dog oven.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The only thing that I don't see is that it could spin.
It can.
You will have to spin it yourself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
you can turn it. Yeah.
But of course, every good cook checks on their food. You know, you don't want to leave it right there. So you have to be involved.
No, we opted not to put a cover on this one because the inside of it already has that that shiny material. So remember, a hot dog sausage doesn't need much cooking. It's just like reheating. So by the end of the day, you should be eating sausage on a stick.
That's good.
Yeah.
Should the sun come out.
I hope it's ready by 12.
Thank you so much for the time and the presentation. It was a good learning experience for us, I guess, to have new events in Belize. Hopefully, we'll be able to make enough for to market it.
Yeah.
You know, so thank you again.
Or the prototype to tell them how to make it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve International. How are you today?
I'm
Very
doing
good.
well.
Good. Tell us a little about your renewable energy project that you have here today.
What we're basically going to do is create water gas. As you can see, we already have one finished already, but what I'm going to basically do is show how we got to that point and what we're going to do after that. Alright, so right now what we're going to basically do is just add some salt.
Regular water, right?
Yeah.
Just stir it up a bit, right? Right. And then you just add the dorsal battery in it. Alright. Now,
After this, what will basically happen is that you'll notice that the back part of the dorsal, the negative side, will start to bring bubbles. Well, compared to the front side, you see that's like not happen, right?
Okay.
What this will basically do, it'll create hydrogen.
okay, because water is H2O, so it does have hydrogen in it, right? So the salt creates more electrolytes, that's sodium chloride, right? So the negative side, it just does a chemical reaction, which has hydrogen popping up, right? What we did here was, as you can see, the rust has come out of the positive side, right? So the battery does start to rust. However, we capsulated the hydrogen on top of the, because we usually use double D batteries, the box one. Yeah. It's better to use that instead of these smaller ones because it doesn't create as much hydrogen, right? So what we did was capsulate it, and then when you take it off, it's supposed to create the fire.
Yeah.
All right. So as you can see, because of the hydrogen in it, it does not out the flame. Being that this is fuel, you can use it to, for example, light stoves and all of that. So instead of using different butane, you could use the hydrogen out of the water to fuel the stove or even cars and all that. This is just a small, simplistic experiment towards it.
In terms of your solution, how often would you need to change it? I see it's already dark. Is that still good, or would you have to change it?
The water?
To me, I must say have to. You just basically change, adding an next battery or adding something else, whatever you use, and then you create the same result. So I don't really matter about the water part.
But you can use different things out of salt water. For example, there is a saltwater battery. That is what I was actually initially going to do. However, there is not enough copper in Belize. If you had plated copper in Belize, then we could create electricity through electrolysis out of the salt water. Yeah. You could power a bulb or an alarm clock.
Stephen and Ashton, thank you very much for the presentation. Very much impressed as to the amount of research that you guys have done and the applicability of the product, and hopefully you could further develop it and show us in due time what magic we could do out of your experiment, right?
Thank you.
Hi Janela, how are you today?
I'm good, and you guys?
Good.
Okay.
So where's Nicole?
Nicole had something to do with her work, so I said that I'll take up this whole part of it. So we both agreed that, you know, she has to do what she has to do, and I'll try my best to explain.
Very good. So what do you have to show us today?
We have, my partner and I, we made a hot box, our homemade hot box. We used wood. This is wood from Builders Hardware, old wood from them. We went and begged them for wood. On the panels, we're using foam boards. Inside has the styrofoam from the new computers. We got those from them to use as the insulation, sorry. Also inside is also foam boards. Okay. What we did was we spray painted the foam boards outside. We spray painted these black, and also the insulation, we spray painted those black as well, to attract more heat. And we covered it with foil so that it reflects.
So how does this function now?
Well, what it does is we try to test it when the sun is hot. I don't know why it's not working with us today. When the heat comes down, when the heat rays reflects on the panels, it should reflect into the box, and we put the glass on top of it so that it traps down the heat, and it should cook whatever is inside the box. And we also did the foam to intimidate the heat, to keep the heat in, so that it cooks a little bit faster than normal.
Okay. Is there any logic as to why you have the panels like this?
We were thinking that if we put it all together, if we put it up like this, then it won't really make all the rays come in at once. So we tried to put it at an angle so that wherever the rays come in, it retracts from whichever part of the panel it wants to bounce off, reflect off of.
So what else could I cook in?
Well, we only tried eggs, but we also wanted to do bread rolls, because we thought that with the heat and the yeast that it would make the bread rolls, it would make the heat would make the bread rolls raise really quick, but we didn't do all that, so we just practiced with the heat, with the eggs, sorry.
Is there any reason why you chose glass? Couldn't you have chosen a cheaper material?
We could have chosen saran wrap. We did some research and read about it, and they also said that glass would contain the heat. It would pack the heat down much better than the saran wrap, so we went with the glass instead.
I wanted to buy two. How much would you sell it to me?
If you wanted to buy this, including labor and all that, I would say about $35 the most, I would say.
I think you have all the components to be quite efficient, but it looks quite bulky.
Okay.
So how long does it take to fry an egg?
Well, when it's really, really hot, it takes about 45 minutes to actually fry the egg.
Hi Delbert and Michael. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Can you please explain to us about your project, what you have here, the science behind it, and the functionality of your project?
What we did was we had hydro energy. So we created a lift that would use a turbine to turn when the water is poured to lift the object. So it's more like using the hydro energy as a way to have a like if you have an elevator and you want to lift it by the water pressure, depending on how heavy the item is, then you have to use the water pressure to increase the water pressure to make a lift. So that's basically what we created.
Can you show us more or less how this works? And you explain this and this.
Okay.
What is the function of that?
So this is the lift. This is the ballast to balance the lift. And this is going to act as the turbine when the water is poured on it to lift the item. So open it. So that's it.
Simple but easy.
Simple and easy. So like if you say have some form of construction near the river, and you don't have like a pulley. You just create a torque, and the torque will lift whatever items with the water pressure that you place on the turbine.
Yeah, it seems a little light. Will you be able to lift up something heavier? That's what I'm saying.
It does. You just have to increase the water pressure to fit the item at the end.
But you didn't do that calculation.
Or probably make the paddle a bit bigger.
Wider.
Okay. What's the purpose of this?
This is just a balance.
Okay, counterbalance.
So that's basically our device. Simple and easy.
Trying to think how it will function in real life. If you want to, what he was asking about, you know, what are the difficulties you're going to face?
The difficulty would be the drop in water pressure, where you place the turbine within the river to get the maximum amount of water pressure.
So your concept is not to make electricity, but to produce
energy.
mechanical energy.
Yes.
So what other purposes, like let's say a sawmill?
Sawmill.
Or washing machines. Something like that.
Okay.
That's what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
But I like this concept. I wouldn't want to include electricity here.
Yeah.
Changing and converting the kinetic energy from the flow of the water into mechanical energy. This has a lot of applications. You could pump water with this thing.
Yeah.
You could do a water pump that will. It won't just go up. It will probably just go up and down.
Yeah.
It can pump water, and you don't have to generate any electricity for this. It's a good concept.
Thank you.
But how do you get it from this to the next?
To the next
phase. That's what I'm saying.
We don't really know of that application
We
there.
never did that about that.
Yeah, well, you should give it a try. Maybe at some farm.
Yeah.
You know, and start with a water pump. Hi Sumit and Delwin.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good, good.
Good. Well, what do you have for us today? Tell us a little about your
The
device.
challenge was to use a source of renewable energy, so we decided to go with wind. As you know, Belize is actually a very windy country, and the idea that we had was we wanted to create something that you can use in the outdoors. As you know, that's one of the major things that Belize sells itself on its environment and the ecosystems. So what we wanted to do is create something you can use outdoors. So we decided to make a lamp, which the main purpose of this lamp would be used on, for example, camping trips. You know, when you're out camping and you maybe run out of batteries or something like that, so you can take this out, and what this does is you set it on a table or wherever, or counter, wherever, and as the wind, this is actually a wind turbine that we made. And so what this does is the wind blows the propeller, and that generates electricity, and it lights up the bulb.
Well, how we generate energy is by using copper insulated wires. And you can find that almost anywhere, in almost any motor, in an oil fan. And basically everything here is, I would say, is recyclable, because the propeller itself is from a broken fan that wasn't good, and all the copper that we used was from that as well. And this is a computer, an old computer part. I believe it's the power supply. So what we did is we cleaned it out and used it to make our the base for our propeller.
The only thing we didn't buy it, but we had it around, was the bulb.
So if you guys want, I can show you the inside and explain a little bit more how it works. Inside here we have this, which is stuck here. This won't move. And this is the coil. So what you do, you get the coil wire and you spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it. And then inside that coil, or close to it or above it, you have a magnet spinning around it, see? And when that spins, that is what creates the electricity. So this is why we're gonna use wind to spin it and to create electricity. And basically, you just take the two ends of the coils, the beginning and the end, and you connect it to a positive and a negative end, and it should light a light bulb.
Did you test to see what power comes out of it when you spin it at least?
0.791.
Can't remember the voltage, but it was less than 1 volt.
Yeah, so that's why we had a major issue with the bulb that we're using, because I believe this is 3 volts. So we weren't generating enough electricity to light this, but Initially what we wanted to light was an LED, which requires a little energy to light up, but we couldn't find one. So
what do you think went wrong in producing the amount of energy that is required to light the bulb?
One way that it could have worked is maybe have more copper, have more coils so it produces more electricity, but we also were limited on the amount of copper we had. So
What will happen if there is no wind? During that time, and you are relying on this for
really
electricity. And do you have any backup plan?
Yes, you can do it yourself. You can spin it yourself. Use your own little workout. Spin it yourself. Once you really need it.
So if I were to ask you for 25 of these, you'd be able to
make it?
Make them almost identical?
Oh yes, man.
Or even better, the 25th one would have been the best for sure.
I think we got a good idea as to your project. Very much impressed as to the idea coming out of you guys. Thank you very much. Hopefully we will see the 25th project and we will be able to see the results and see how we could promote you guys. You know?
Well, once you hire us, I'm okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Good to see you. How is the judging?
Tough.
Could
Really
imagine.
tough.
Any of them that surprised you, or?
Yes, because at least one was functional.
All in one?
But you managed to come to a decision?
Yes.
These are the results?
Here you go.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks
you.
for being a part of the show, Mr. Egg. Mr. Aldana.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Aldana and Mr. Ek have viewed your devices that you presented to them. Some were great, some were not so great.
But it was a tough decision that had to be made. So we have Kaya and Anlin's solar cooker and concentrator. We have Delwyn's and Summit wind turbine. And we have Stephen and Ashton's hydrogen generator. The three themes I've just called out, you guys are safe. You will not be going home.
That leaves Nicole and Janella and Anthony and Delver. One of you came first and one of you came last. The first place team will win a Black & Decker blender with accessories courtesy of Quartz. The winner of the Got Energy Challenge is Nicole and Janella. Delbert and Anthony, that means you're a last place finisher for a Got Energy competition.
So Delwyn and Summit, they had to leave early today as they're pursuing their educational degree in natural resource management at the University of Belize. Because of this, they have decided to forfeit this show. Sadly, but we wish them the best.
This means that Delbert and Anthony, you're safe from elimination. So congratulations, guys. You did a great job. And next episode, we have a surprise for you for challenge number 4. See you then.
Belize.